A number of movers and shakers are perplexed at the fine that NASCAR doled out to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. after he punched Kyle Busch at the end of the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro on Sunday. They are specifically questioning why NASCAR doled out such a heavy fine and are penalizing this type of action when NASCAR itself is highly promoting it across all of its social media and just direct media channels. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at John Trent Racing. First off, let's go to fellow NASCAR Cup Series competitor Daniel Suarez. Suarez reacted to the fine. Well, I guess we should say what the fines are, right? Let's look at what the fine is first. This is from Jeff Gluck. He does a really good summary of it here. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was fined $75,000. His dad was suspended indefinitely. One of the crew members, Clint Myrick, was suspended for 8 races. The tuner for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Keith Matthews, was suspended for 4 races, and there were no penalties for Kyle Busch. That is a very good summary there, and that is what it is. And Suarez reacted to this, reacted to NASCAR's reporting on it, saying that if it's so wrong, then why is it all over NASCAR social channels? We should be allowed to show our emotions. I don't get it. It's an interesting question, and Kelly Earnhardt actually responded to Daniel Suarez. She said, I just said the same thing to a friend, Daniel. NASCAR has exploited the hell out of it, and then this. So, extremely perplexing. We also have NASCAR veterans, Elliot Sadler. He says this is dead wrong. If you plan on using the wreck of fight for promotions moving forward, you can't fine a guy, then show it to sell tickets at NASCAR events. Double standard. Ricky saved the All-Star race. So, what is going on here? Well, let's listen to what NASCAR's Elton Sawyer had to say. He did an appearance on the Morning Drive on SiriusXM NASCAR radio channel 90. He was asked about it. Let's take a listen here.
Yeah, Pete, I think it's fair to say that when you have crew members and family members that put their hands on our athletes, our drivers, we're going to react. There's not a lot of detail that I'm going to get into this morning due to the fact that these are appealable penalties, and I want to make sure that we're fair to that process. So with that being said, again, and we've been consistent with this, when crew members get involved and family members get involved, we are going to react, and that's exactly what we did. And we looked at all the audio and video from the incident on Sunday night. So at this point, that's really all I'm going to comment on the penalties.
So that wasn't all he would comment actually on. He was asked about why the hefty $75,000 fine was given to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. because even when this was recorded at 8:30 a.m. this morning, Eastern time on May 22nd, the initial reactions were like, what in the world is happening here? NASCAR is promoting this, and then they're going to go out and fine Ricky Stenhouse Jr. This is what he had to say regarding the fine.
What I will say, when you wait 198 laps and you make those decisions that were made, again, we're going to react to that. There could have been different decisions made. Once we get to the point where it gets physical, we want the two drivers to be able to have their time to express their differences. But again, once it escalates to where there's been a physical altercation there, again, we're going to react. And granted, there was no tunnel. Granted, there was no crossover bridge. But better decisions could have been made throughout that period of time that between the incident that happened on the racetrack and the incident that happened in the garage post-race.
So that's literally a non-answer. Better decisions could have been made. Well, of course they could have been made, but that doesn't explain why you decided to fine him $75,000. What were the reasonings why you chose to fine Ricky Stenhouse Jr. $75,000? And I might be wrong on this, but I do not think that Ross Chastain suffered any kind of penalties when he punched Noah Gragson last year. So I'm really curious as to why they decided to fine Ricky Stenhouse Jr. when we have seemingly a previous precedent set that we did not see a fine when there was an altercation that escalated to violence, because he seems to say because it escalated to violence, that's why we issued the fine. But we've seen that before, and they didn't issue any fines. So I think that's pretty much a non-answer. And I don't know if NASCAR really has an answer for this. I think that they thought that, like, oh, well, we have to fine him. He was in a fight. People are going to be on our side. And it's like, what? No, you're literally promoting this as part of the sport. And now you're saying you shouldn't be doing that. But NASCAR is promoting it as part of the sport. Come watch a NASCAR race. You might actually see drivers wreck each other and then fight in the pits. That is part of the product that we are selling. That's part of our sport. But then they're saying, like, no, we're going to fine you $75,000 because we don't actually want you to do that. Well, what is it? So he did also was answered a question on why Kyle Busch did not receive any kind of penalties for his on-track actions. Let's take a listen to what he had to say here.
No, I mean, you look at the racetrack and the situation, and it's early, it's the All-Star race, it's hard racing. I will defer to Ricky and Kyle whether they agree to disagree on what happened on the racetrack. I think this has been consistent over our time. If we see something, we have proven over time that if intentionally hooking someone in the right rear, and we've reacted to that, but we really, as a sanctioning body, would and we do stay out of the on-track incidents unless we see something that blatantly comes back to us that we need to react to. And in this case, we reviewed it, we looked at it, listened to audio, and again, hard racing, but also totally appreciate where the two drivers stand on it. We'll let those guys decide and agree to disagree.
Again, I feel like that is a non-answer too. I feel like that kind of contradicts what he was saying about hooking in the right rear. Obviously, Kyle Busch didn't hook him in the right rear. I think he just pushed him in the bumper. Obviously, it was still retaliation. He clearly drove into the back of him. He tried it in the previous corner, and then he did it again in the next corner. I'm fine with them not penalizing Kyle Busch, but I think I think even Kyle Busch would say that, and I think he's said this in previous interviews, that if you do wreck someone like that, you need to be sent to the rear of the field. So I'm fine with like any kind of post-race penalties. With them not giving out any post-race penalties, I'm totally fine with that, but I think he probably should have been sent to the rear of the field. That's usually how it works on your local short track. That's how it works at my local short track at Dominion Raceway. If you intentionally wreck someone, they send you to the rear of the field. And I'm pretty sure Kyle Busch has said that on multiple occasions that is how enforcement should be done. But I think that's where NASCAR kind of messed up. They should have sent him to the rear of the field after that, punishing him immediately for that, and then nothing in a post race. So I'm actually fine with him not being fined in a post race. Now, I am interested that I still think that there might have been some potential penalties for people on Kyle Busch's team, because obviously they were involved in that melee as well. I'd like to know why exactly they came up with 8 races for the crew member and then 4 races for the other, and nothing for anyone on Kyle Busch's team. I'd like a little bit more explanation on all of that, but clearly Elton Sawyer came on radio to talk about that and literally didn't provide any real answers. It's like, what was the point of even coming on? It's just you just taking heat from people like me, and obviously from people like Elliot Sadler, people like Kelly Earnhardt, people like your own driver, Daniel Suarez. So just more NASCAR craziness NASCAR inconsistency when it comes to penalties, NASCAR hypocrisy. Let's promote this fight. It's part of what you get when you come to a NASCAR race. You could potentially get something like this. And then, oh, wait, we don't actually want our drivers doing that. Here's a massive $75,000 fine for violating the NASCAR member code of conduct. Now, you did hear that there is a possibility for appeal. We have this report here from Danielle Trotta. I'm not super familiar with her, but she is a reporter for Motor Trend, it looks like. And then she's also the host of SiriusXM NASCAR Radio On Track. And she says here, Ricky Stenhouse telling us he still hasn't decided if he's going to appeal his $75,000 fine for the fight. His team, JTG, is still deciding whether they want to appeal the team suspensions stemming from the All-Star race fight. So that is interesting. They have not come to a decision for that. I believe they have 3 days to make that decision on whether or not they want to appeal. I think Eldon Sawyer explains that later on in the interview. But let me know what you guys make of people like Daniel Suarez, people like Kelly Earnhardt, and people like Elliot Sadler calling out NASCAR for their hypocrisy. I think Elliot Sadler said it best here. This is dead wrong. If you plan on using the wreck of fight for promotions moving forward, you can't find a guy, then show it to sell tickets at NASCAR events. Double standard. Ricky saved the All-Star race. 100% agree with Elliot Sadler. He's absolutely right. I think this fine is just utterly ridiculous. They should be paying Ricky Stenhouse Jr. more money for basically creating a viral event for the All-Star race and basically blowing up NASCAR over the past weekend. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below.